In this lecture, I am discussing another important point while dealing with events, and that is preventing the default behavior. Let's first of all change this code and then we will understand. So let me just remove this use state and let me also clear this getData method. So the method will remain as it is, but let me remove these statements. Now here with the division, let me also remove the onclick event for the division, and I remove this h1 as well. And let me also remove this onChange. So now we have just one input, that is the text box. Now let me just copy this input and paste it again. So now we have two text boxes. Now these two text boxes let me cover inside the form tag. So here I'm going to say form, and after these inputs let me put the end of the form. Now after this input I add the break tag. Here also I add another break, and let me have a button. So I'll say button type is equal to submit, and I just say submit, and we end the button. So now we just have a form, the HTML form which we generally see. Here let me add the onSubmit event. So here I'm going to say onSubmit and equals to getData. Now inside this getData method I'll put a console log. I'll just say submission process. There will be some more process when we proceed further with higher level of codings, but at the moment we just put a console log. Now let's just refresh and check the output. Here I will add values in these text boxes. So let's say hi and hello, and now let's click on submit. As you can see that the submission process is coming for a moment and then it goes away. Not only that, but these text boxes are also getting cleared. So in a way, the entire interface refreshed, and the reason is this is the default behavior of form with a submit button. Whenever we write code on submit, it will always try to submit the data on the server. And this is the default behavior of the form submit. Now, if you were using only JavaScript, you could have stopped this default behavior by writing something like this. Let's say you have onSubmit and I just put console log, and after that you just write return false. If you write return false, then it is going to stop the default behavior. It means it will not refresh, it will not submit. And it will allow you to write your own coding on the button, because when you write the return false statement, it stops the default behavior. But in React.js, the return false will not stop the default behavior. It will not prevent the default behavior. So how will you manage that? You use the preventDefault explicitly. So let me do that. Here I am just going to say e.preventDefault, and let's just now refresh, and I'll say hi and hello, and now let's click the submit button. There you are. Now you see that it does not refresh the page and data remains intact because you stopped the default behavior of the action submit. So remember, you do not write the return false with the submit event, that is on submit event, but rather when you want to stop, that is you want to prevent the default behavior of any element, you are going to write the preventDefault explicitly. Now let's talk about relative questions. The question is, how will you prevent the default behavior of an element? Or the same thing can be asked that, can you use return false with an event to prevent the default behavior. Certainly we cannot use that. And how will you prevent the default behavior? You use the preventDefault explicitly